who's up late and up for a bit of a deep dive into some dark esoteric? Because I think when we face the darkness head on without fear, we transmute, just like we do with emotions. We deep dive into ourselves and we alchemize the pain that's within. As above, so below. So I thought it might be time to just take you guys on a really deep dive. Surely we are living in a dualistic society, and darkness is very much coming to the surface. Darkness is ruling currently, and I believe there's going to be a major shift. Hey everybody, thank you for joining. I won't mention names in case this gets flagged. I'm just going to set a ray of gold light around this post so that it doesn't get taken down or interfere with my business, which is abundance. And know that you are loved, and love shields and protects. So there's no fear in these discussions, but we must face the darkness in order to alchemize it. We must cast love over it in order to expose it and disintegrate it. That's what I've been shown by Ascended Masters anyway. You're on your journey, and you can dive and chew into this at your own pace. If it's too deep, I apologize. Please scroll on. But most of us know that the planetaries are linked into the fallen watchers, and the planets also linked to the, what will I call them? Dark fallen angels, but also they link to our birth charts and the energies that we can embody and do embody because of our soul agreements when we chose to be born, the seasons that we're born in, the energies that we're holding, and the days of the week on the Gregorian calendar. I've been talking to you about linking into the Nephilim and the giants, right? So the Gregorian calendar is still in effect. It was set there by Roman Catholicism, and I had the inspiration to look up Saturn, aka Satan, in different languages, and look what I found right here. And it's Bel. Boom shaka! Saturn means bell. And that is, guess what? Right back where it began, Assyrian in Aramaic. Remember, Christ spoke Aramaic. It's all been translated into, into Hebrew. But it was originally, the scrolls were written in Aramaic. Isn't this interesting? So one of Saturn's names from Aramaic is Bel, this ancient deity that often gets translated to Baal. And I've been gently seed dropping to all of you about the Baal priests ruling this realm, or the sons of Belial, as Edgar Chase speaks about them, and that's written about in the Bible as well, even in the 66 canon, without the Apocrypha. The sons of Belial are the sons of wickedness. So let's dive in. This is a bit juicy, I think. I'm excited for this chat. I've been stewing on it all day. So hopefully I can hold the camera and grasp my concepts here, but it all links into Saturnalia, which was a Roman religious pagan festival. And I use the term pagan loosely because Christianity births out of pagan stuff. But Saturnalia was a custom, and Christmas is actually Saturnalia stuff. Actually, if you dive in, it's so easy now with the internet to study. If you're sitting there ignorant and triggered by anything that I say today, this is from years and years of downloads for me and studying. All I do is study, so you can study too. So I'm just asking you to dive in, and it's all from Pope Julius, and Pope Julius setting the 25th of December for a Saturnalia celebration. Now, Saturnalia celebration was celebrated with sex and gambling and lots of drinking and lots of debauchery, actually. Still is, right? And they're eating of things that Jews would never eat, such as ham and pork. You know, those, a Jew would never touch that. Not a real Jew, anyway. And I'm going to press into the synagogue of Satan and those that Christ identified as the sons of Belial and the fake Jews. Like, I mean no disrespect here to anybody in their religious walk at all, because I believe we've all been deceived. But let's be honest, every single religion holds some truth if we look carefully. So Saturnalia, and there are a whole group of sons of Belial that link to Saturn, that rule these realms. They love to puff themselves up and use their own images, etc. And they rule this realm with dark magic, and they worship the black sun, actually. So yeah, I find all of this so interesting, and I even send them nothing but love, because all you're going to disintegrate darkness with is love. All you're going to disintegrate fear with is perfect love and peace, because that's who you are as a son and daughter of light, actually. Light disintegrates darkness. So yeah, the Jewish day of rest is the Shabbat, and I grew up in a group that actually keeps traditional Shabbat, called Adventist, Seventh-day Adventists, the seventh day linking right into Saturn. And I kept Shabbat for many years, especially after I started to hear Bible verses in my head after my zapping. About 29 years ago, I was zapped in the head with a bolt of blue light, and I was told to read the Bible, to open the Bible, and I did that, and I found that it was written there about keeping the Sabbath as one day of the week being holy and consecrated to God as a symbol of creation. Totally made sense to me, and I kept that for many years. But in the expansion of consciousness, I realized that in this matter density, in this fallen state, we are not the body, we are the spirit. And in that expanded state, one day is more like 1,000 years, which is actually written in the scrolls as well. Hey, one of you have written, what is the black sun, please? I'll try to get to that. It's a difficult concept. I believe the black sun links to Saturn's fall into inner earth. It's a different sun to the sun that we see with our eyes, but it is a collective energy of dark matter energy. I myself don't particularly understand it. I've been taken there in the astral, and it was absolutely disgusting as an energy. But does it link to these Sabbath keepers who worship matter? Because matter traps our spirit. So those of you that are identifying as the body, or judging somebody for being uglier than you or poorer than you, or, you know, disabled, or whatever the case, know that matter is low vibrational light, and we are light beings. We are not matter beings. We are just trapped in the Saturnalia trap. So where does the name Saturday come from? Well, Saturday is from the word Saturn, actually, and it all links into Kronos, the god Kronos, as the watcher, or one of the original gods that ate his own children. And I just want to slowly expand your consciousness to see that these ancient practices are still happening. They're still happening. I want you to just zoom in here and see that they're also linked to the Germanic and the Norse gods, and that'll drop in later as I get to something else. Saturn is linked to the agricultural icon, and it was all about feasting, partying excessively. cult sex, worshipping Kronos as a deity or a god. Remember, all the planetaries were worshipped in lower states of consciousness. But it started in Babylon, I think. So yeah, you can have a look at that. And then we jump to Christ. Why did Christ say, I don't call Christ Jesus, but whatever, so don't get caught up in names. But Christ said this in Luke 6:5, that Lord of the Sabbath he was Lord of the Sabbath, which was kind of saying in my mind, he's the Lord of Saturn, or the Lord of Satan, if you want to put it that way, or the Lord of Kronos. Kronos is the god of time. And we are in this body dense state, trapped in time, are we not? We're looping in a cycle. Those of us that have left our bodies and seen cosmic state of spirit expanding out of body and remembering who we are, realize that we're not the body, that the body is simply a stone anchor. And stone, in some ancient translations, links to Ma, M-A, or M-A-A. Even in Samoan, I found that Ma, one of my girlfriends, has taught me that Ma in her language means stone. And the body is simply a stone. We're made out of earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But we are not the body, we are the spirit or the consciousness that lives within. Now, in Roman mythology, Saturn was this agricultural deity who was said to have reigned over the world in the Golden Age, which was when Babylon existed. And Babylon was the head of the collective body at the fall of consciousness. And that's written about in the book of Daniel. It's after Atlantis fell. I believe that Egypt's heavily involved with ruling in light and darkness, as I've mentioned before. And Egypt, kind of with, I think with black magicians and black magic, figured out how to trap the spirit in body density and create a Saturnalia loop. So there is such a thing. Now I want to show you the symbol for the black sun and show you, Tinks, you just asked, what does it mean? And look, I'm not even going to say this out loud because I'm already flagged on my platform, but you guys can read. So here you go. And if you want to research the symbol, this is what it looks like. And yep, it does link right into this. Can you read that? So know that it's about bloodlines. Not everyone in these bloodlines is this, obviously, but this is an inverted symbol that's been stolen and loaded with dark magic energy by those that study the occult. And occult simply means hidden esoteric knowledge. And the more, if you're afraid of that, then you are not helping to dissolve it. Okay, great. Oh, any search on Google tonight, I don't really give a shit, but any search engine will pull this stuff up. If you want to dig deeper, dig below the first few that show up. Okay, so we get to this word now. I'm not going to say it out loud because there's a lot of programming and triggers. So this word here, and see the same word, I'm going to flick back, the same words there. So it's all about spelling, right? It's all about wordsmithing. So this word here, that word there, is in this word. Same word, yeah? Ash meaning body. Ash meaning ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Pots, jugs, possibly with a different kind of energy in the pot that isn't light, like you and I. We are light beings. We are spirits that live in jugs or pots. Actually, I've done videos on this before, and if you could be bothered trailing through my videos, I did a video on the body being the etymology of the word body actually means jug or urn, and that hence Christ's first miracle with the big jugs turning water into wine. Hey everyone that's just joining. So, okay, what is the link to this word, ash, and this, and America? Oh, you ask. Well, it runs deep. It runs deep, guys. It runs deep, and I'm not sending hate out to anyone here, sending nothing but love. There's your symbol that you need to research, and it links into the black sun. This is ancient esoteric knowledge that's been passed on through bloodlines in order to rule using black magic. Black magic, and the spells are breaking, I believe, because consciousness is pouring in. Consciousness is pouring in, so we need not fear the darkness. Okay, let me just gather my thoughts. Okay, so we're not just talking, just reading your comments. Yes, I love Tinks. That is so great. I'd love to watch that doco. And you might see our current issues at the moment with the war that's happening and who's it happening between. This might shed just a wee bit of light into that. I'm not picking teams. I'm just bringing facts to the surface. You can make up your own conscious minds. But if you go and have a look at politics, you will see that every single political ruler bows to a certain sector. They've all done it. They're all involved. And most of them are related. We're talking bloodlines. Yes, they did end up in America and Australia, I believe. Let's talk about the mythology of Saturn. Saturn being an energy, and I'm just bringing it into the word Satan, birthing out of Saturn, because the ancient scrolls never used this word Satan, actually. They never used the word Satan. They used words like this, Beelzebub. Now, in the book of the Gospel of the Essenes, Christ was an Essene. In order to conquer Beelzebub, you have to fast. You have to do a fast. And that's why in my 9-week program, I suggest a fast. Because fasting helps you to unpack any hidden emotions from your subconscious programming by Saturnalia programming and trappings from these guys that worship these Bel deities or Baal deities. I'll say it like this: Baal, Bel, belly. Lower-based emotional entrappings that are programmed into your subconscious mind while you're in body state. So how do we get higher vibrational? Well, we fast. And fasting does make the cells vibrate faster. If you don't know whether or not you're angry or fearful, try a fast and you will quickly find the anger surfacing. I mean, everybody gets hangry, right? Okay, so what happens when the Sun and Saturn are in the same house? I don't know much about astrology, but I can't help but see this stuff now because of where I've been taken and what I'm seeing. And when is the Sun the enemy of Saturn? And Saturn got angry that time when Surya betrayed his mother Chaya and started hating his father Surya from then on. So these are ancient cosmic things. Ancient cosmic mythologies. I don't think anything's a myth, actually. Everything has some truth. Please know that Saturn is entrapped with a ring. It's bound. Saturn is the only planet that's bound, and that's written about in the Apocrypha, in this specific energy being bound until end time. Okay, so How can you have more than one Baal priest at once? Well, they embody the energies of Saturn in dark matter density. This is black magic. These guys, they are shape-shifting entities that have learned how to manipulate matter and entrap spirit in matter. Now, does Saturn link to karma? Yes, it does. And some of us, myself included, have met the karmic council and been shown that my ancestral bloodline are releasing karmic ties in this current moment, because some of us are choosing to hold love, joy, peace, forgiveness. That's why I've launched my forgiveness program, my Pathways program. You will only dissolve karma with forgiveness, with compassion for lower based density. It's not your job to be the judge, if that makes sense. So karma represents uncovering and understanding and healing from all of these things. Saturn represents difficulties, hurdles, trials, tribulations that we have to face in order to clear out bad and create good. Now, Christ came to smash that because you and I can't. But the Christ in us can. The Christ in us is rising up as an anointed oil, which happens within your spine when you are activated, which is super exciting because we're becoming activated back to higher vibrational beings that are holding these energies. The energy of Christ and the battle against the sons of Belial. Now, have a look at this. And I don't subscribe to many of these particular translations. They've all been manipulated, but just for the sake of being on the internet, here we are. And you can, all of them say something similar. And then he showed me Joshua, which is actually Yeshua, the high priest. Joshua is Christ's name. It's been befuddled and translated and changed over and over, but it's always the frequency of Yahushua, cry out to Yah, or Yeshua in Hebrew, the high priest standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan or Saturn standing at Yeshua's right side to accuse him. So they're seated in the heavenlies, right? So too are you and I. Christ told us that we are seated in the heavenlies already, which is your star energy, your light realm. A lot of us have been deceived into what a star actually is. And a planetary is a star. It's a fallen star, hence being a watcher angel or a fallen deity. But you too are in the Council of Lights as your higher self, operating as a star, and you have your own sacred geometry, your own song, your own frequency, according to how much light you embody, which is, and light is energy, right? Light is emotional, love, joy, peace, bliss, authenticity. These are incredible states. Hey, everyone that's joining. Welcome, welcome. So I'd love you to just study this from the organs, which planets as above, so below are represented within the body part. See how the sun represents the heart. This is why Christ said he was the door. The heart is the door or the altar. The door to access higher emotions. When we have an open heart state, not a greedy heart, not a dark-centered heart or a heart full of vengeance or deceit, which is from the sons or the DNA of Belial. We have an activated heart, which is a higher state of consciousness. It starts at green, just like Earth does. As within, so without. The heart chakra is green and earth grass is green. Green is life, right? And you can read in the Bible that when the ruler of Babylon, the king of Babylon, fell, Yahweh struck him down as an animal and made him eat grass. And you'll go read about that. And he ate grass and lifted his energy again, because when you eat plant foods, you become the vibration of nature. Plant foods are green to heal us. So I'd love you to read that, guys, and let me know your feedback. But then these other, like the moon is the brain, right? So we've been talking about the moon linking right into the subconscious mind. Don't forget that your brain links into your body as well. Your body holds your water matrix, your cellular memory. So our trauma state, 0 to 7 years, is what we're holding as our Saturnalia programming, our subconscious programming. Like it could be your belief system is I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm not able to be noticed, I'm not accepted, I don't know. All of our, I am afraid, all of these are belief systems that need unlearning because they're not true. They come from Saturnalia programming given to you by the sons of Belial, the epigenetics of Belial. All of us have, I believe, some in our bloodline that sold their souls to Beelzebub or Satan or whatever you want to call that energy in order to sell out their bloodlines so that they could take pride, sex, wealth, manipulate matter, dark energies, dark esoteric knowledge in order to cast spells and manipulate matter. And they sold off their offspring. And you and I are actually suffering the karmic consequences of that. So if you actually read the Bible, they never prayed for their own forgiveness. They prayed also for the forgiveness of their ancestors. So when we ask for our ancestors' guidance, not all ancestors are good. Ancestors are good. My great-grandfather has come to me in visions with no face, a hood, and has been screaming every obscenity to me, telling me that he's tried to kill me many times, sent others to try to kill me. I think because I was going to expose this type of esoteric knowledge, I don't know. It doesn't scare me anymore. It used to when I was a child. So look at Saturn though. Saturn links to the spleen. And I want to show you what the spleen is within the body, as without, so within. Okay, so the spleen is an elastic spongy organ that stores the blood. Now, if you didn't know, the blood is slowed down light. Think about blood as soul at a matter density. Blood was never meant to be vibrating that slowly. And this is why the sons of Belial do blood sacrifices and drink blood and do all this weird shit. No jokes. Okay, so blood is your soul. In the Bible, blood is described as the life force of the Most High. Blood at soul level density is precious to all because at elevated star state, it is the oneness. So if somebody's blood is spilled, it keeps us out of higher consciousness. This is why Moses couldn't ascend with his body, because he had killed somebody. This is exactly the same reason why David couldn't build the sanctuary, even though he drew the blueprint for it, because he had killed somebody. David didn't even kill somebody with his own hands. He sent a soldier to do it, but he did that for lust. So spilling of blood is something that keeps us trapped in matter density. I want to touch quickly into black magic. Now, please don't be afraid to discuss this stuff, because knowledge is power. Now, if you didn't know and you're still trapped in Christianity, it was King James that translated and pretty much tethered up the 66 canon Bible to the crown. And the crown owns copyright for the Bible. Now, I come from publishing, a background of publishing, and I know with copyright, you must change 10% for each reprint. Now go and read the last chapter of Revelation and see the curse that's written for those that do that. So the sons of Belial have changed the scrolls and the scriptures. That's why I believe it's written within you as a vibration instead of a book. Notice they've put a black magic cover on it too, and you'll notice the symbols on the Bible are actually also occultic symbols with intention to keep you trapped in Saturnalia. Black Sabbath, basically, the black box. Black box expands into many different things, and I've spoken into that before. Your phone is a black mirror. Your TV is a television, a black mirror. All of this is inversion to program you. So King James also wrote not just that black book of 66, 66 specifically chosen because of the 66. I don't know if you knew this, but Saturn's number is 6. Hence the obsession with 666. And in matter state, humanity are also 666. 6 protons, neurons, and electrons, I think. So we are made up in matter density of those particular elements. Now, it's not an evil number per se, but it is your light body stuck in matter density. So if you are obsessed with how you look, you may be programmed by Saturnalia thinking. And that's what I'd like you to bump out of, because this is black divination. Now, the divine also works with divination. And a couple of you have been asking me to speak into divination. The word divine comes from divination, actually. And if you've stepped into Christ state, you should be able to divine things, which means tell the future, tap into higher guides and higher levels of consciousness, see things beyond your knowings here. But look at divination, it is to divine the nations, hence the spell work, hence the net of all of this. Now, King James also published a book, which is a book on demonology. And many Christians don't know this because they don't study. They just get spoon-fed. And all I am sending them is love. It's time to expand into a higher state of wisdom now. And the book of demonology was actually believed to be one of the main sources used by William Shakespeare in the production of Macbeth. Mac being a very interesting word. Punch Mac into your studies now. Mac means son of ruler of this earth. Now, who's the ruler of this earth? Maybe it's Saturn. And they have all these rituals, which black mass rituals. Mass being the word for mass murder, right? Mass. Gross stuff, anyhow. It's been operating for eons and eons. Consciousness is now expanding to bust out of this. Now, for those beloved friends of mine that are watching me jump out of Seventh-day Adventism, I just want to show you just a wee bit of history for your church. And remember, I mentioned the black sun symbols birthing out of Germany. So too were the Ashka, and I'm not saying the word because I don't want to get banned here. This is my business platform. I do this because I love you. But Seventh-day Adventism, you will see all of the hand signs here. Same shit. They also birthed out of USA and German with German roots. The Millerites were, all of the Protestant churches birthed out of German Protestantism. German line. And not a coincidence. Now check out the hand signs. And for those of you that have started studying the occult stuff, I know that Moses did this as the symbol of the curse of leprosy. Leprosy is actually fungus or mildew on your skin. If a house gets mold, in Hebrew, the same word for mold means leprous, actually. Mildew, it's all been mucked up with translation. And because Moses did this as a test, all of the rulers do these little hidey-ho hand signs, hand in the over the heart space, and it's a symbol of a secret group. And they have a perceived prophet that my good father has spoken to me about upstairs and told me they're very funny in enlightened state. They speak about darkness with humor, which actually gobsmacked me and surprised me. And they'll show you something and then kind of poo-hoo it, because love has no concept of fear, or no fear of fear. And that's where I'd like you to step into. But this is one of the old Millerites and Adventists posters, and you'll see the eye here, this same on the tree, tree of good and evil, I believe. And they've got the law of God here, the stony law though, because they love judgment. They love judgment. And I've spent my whole childhood growing up with this level of judgment. I myself being called the devil over and over. It's just crazy. So if you accuse somebody of something, then maybe you're that. That's how I perceive it to be. But this is the obelisk that's on their prophet's grave, which you'll see this same symbol for all of these secret societies. It's ancient Egyptian stuff. It's at the Vatican, it's at Washington, it's in London, and these are the main places of these sons of Belials that rule. Currently, they're falling. London Bridge is falling down, right? So in 2 Peter 3 verse 8, this text says this, one day is as 1,000 years. And this is what I want you to realize, that just as light falls into matter density and we become slower, I mentioned that blood is light in fallen state, but when your blood is vibrating, or your soul is vibrating at a plugged in state to ascended guides and masters, to the Christ, to the higher levels of consciousness, which are oneness upstairs, you are no longer operating in a low vibrational density. Your knowledge becomes wisdom. You can have knowings. You can have expanded states. So too is time. When time falls, it snaps into a time span. And this is why Satan is Chronos, or Saturn is Chronos. Chronos is the god of time. Chronos is the god of time. And time is ruling this synagogue of Satan, which will blow your minds once you start to unpack it, actually, because this synagogue of Satan has been ruling for so long, and it's currently being smashed down. We're in the season that's prophesied by the prophet Daniel of iron and clay, which I feel links into AI mingling with the precious pot of humanity. And iron is the symbol of Rome. Now remember, on the old maps that Rome is called New Rome for USA and for London. On the old maps that have been changed, it's listed there as New Rome. So Rome is not just in Italy, my friends. Okay, what did I want to show you on this one? Oh, I'd love you to get into the missing books. You can get a book as an app, or you can buy the Apocrypha as the Sefer, or a lot of it's online, so please search. But I want you to dig into the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls that have been found and discovered, and they're upturning all of the Gnostic stuff, which is truth, I believe, not what's been repackaged in Saturnalia bindings. Now, there are 3 religions that have the Saturnalia bindings, Judaism, and I'm only speaking about certain aspects of Judaism. There are good people in every single sector of society. I truly believe that. But the black box that's tied onto the forehead is a symbol for Black Saturn. The black Kabbalah, also that's at Mecca, also a symbol for Saturn. And then in Christianity, you have it as a Belial. Look at the word Bel, another word for Saturn. We spoke about that earlier. So that's what I'd just like you to process and know that Christ was teaching you that the vibration is within you, that you don't actually need a book. You need to go inward. Now, a lot of Christians will be horrified at me saying that. It's truth. And if you ask the Most High, it might end up being your truth too. Let's see. But Baal here is represented as the universal god of fertility. This is the temple. It links to the Canaanites. My battery's a bit flat, so I'll try to rush through because I've got quite a few things to show you. But the Canaanites were cannibals and possibly still are. They do link into Balaam. The chief deity of Baal Hamon was identified by the Greeks with Kronos, which is Saturn. And I want you to observe the word Lord. And in Christian churches, they pray to Christ as Lord. But Lord actually means Bel or Baal, which is mind-boggling. See the duality in all of us. It's crazy. Saturn in Pisces, though, is embodied love, which is absolutely fascinating to me. And I think this is a season that we are living in. But I do believe that these dark occultists are embodying the dark energies of Saturn. And this has been mentioned by yogis for years. All linking to our spine, which is your energy tree, your nervous system. Just shuffle this over a bit. Okay, so in the 66 canon of the Bible, there are 27 occurrences of the sons of Belial. Look it up. And the sons of Belial, those that worship Bel or Baal or possibly Kronos or Saturn, are actually shown to be worthless. I'm not saying that. It's just, I don't know. Christ actually came in and rebuked the sons of Belial. So too did a lot of the ancient prophets. Daniel battled them. Elijah battled them. Moses battled them. It's the same story over and over. And here we are lifting our consciousness to battle darkness with the light. So in Sanskrit, I just want to show you, because I mentioned that Saturn links to karma. And karma actually means action. And you've heard it said in every single religion, we reap what we sow. It's one of the 12 laws and principles explained. And nobody can actually negate that, I think. I mean, if you do something wrong, you expect it to bounce back to you, because we live in a vibrational universe. But many of us in the Western mindset don't think about the vibrations of our ancestors. And that's what you'll see in my Insta. I've got there that I love working with ancestral stuff, breaking ancestral curses. If you pull that into your consciousness, you could be that vibration buster, ghost buster. These sons of Belial sold out to jinn and demons. They invoked them. They embodied the energies in order to steal wealth and steal control of humanity. And humanity is sacred. If you've never looked at Chase's readings are so interesting. He talks a lot about the sons of Belial, and he did this by going into trance state, and he was shown about the sons of Belial reincarnating over and over and over again. And I think we can see that happening in Egypt, where they were obsessed with embalming the body and coming back to earth plane instead of ascending. So I feel like Atlantis fell because of this type of black magic, and it was then carried into Egypt, and it's still carried on by the sons of Belial. And this is who Christ came to spill blood for, aka the soul, to transmute this dark negative energy which holds the jinn. So you can have a look, read up on Edgar Chase. Very interesting stuff there. I'm going quickly now just because my battery's flat, which is a little bit disappointing. I find these topics so juicy. Okay, what did I want to show you here? Belial is actually a Hebrew word used to characterize wickedness or worthlessness, lacking worth. It's really interesting that in the King James Version, it translates the Hebrew phrase Adam, see the word Adam there? Belial, as a naughty person. I just laughed when I read that. But sons of destruction, sons of lawlessness. Interestingly enough, these are the ones that set laws in this earth plane. They are the ones that operate the court system or the maritime law. Ma linking to karma, and I'll get to that. Here's some drawings of the sons of Belial. You'll notice that a lot of them have horns. And at orgies and things that you see in Hollywood, you'll see they always put on the little horn caps on purpose. They're showing you that they are worshipping Bel or Baal. There are many other entities linked in because entities travel in packs. They're pack animals. When Joseph ruled Egypt, and you'll find this in the Apocrypha, Joseph got to the point of ruling there fairly, lovingly, accepting his karma or fate. He was sold into slavery in that it was all meant for good. All things work for good. He used forgiveness to be elevated. He used forgiveness even against his own family that sold him out. A lot of us can relate to that. Christ said this, that your main enemies would be within your own house, your own family. And we can link that to as above, so below in this season that we're sitting, because our birth charts are all charted with houses. We all have Saturn in our birth charts, right? So I'd love you to have a look in the Apocrypha about where it says, when Joseph ruled, there was no Satan and there was no evil. Yeah, I am being censored, sadly, but whatevs. Let me just find that for you. Remember that Joseph gathered bread, and bread has so many interesting fractals, but one of the fractals for bread is money or sustenance or energy or food or emotional capacity of higher vibrational levels, and he gave it out to everybody equally. When Joseph was ruling, there was no evil. So what is evil then, when evil spells live back to front? Can Saturn's job be finished when our consciousness shifts? Because Saturn, aka Satan, is written in the scrolls as the accuser. So if I have no judgment or accusation within me, my karmic cords are cut. My karma is finished. The suffix ka comes from the Sanskrit word ka, which means making, doing, Lord of, Lord being ruler. Remember I mentioned that Lord actually links to Bel or Baal? Bel, belly, Baal, my belly is ruling for light now, not for vengeance, not for judgment. It also actually means hailing from. Hail. Hail Caesar. Hail Kronos. Hail Saturn. Hail the belly that desires earthly density things like orgies, indulgence to excess, selfishness, cut off, separateness, cut off from the oneness. Ma, I just wanted to show you an extension of Ma in Hebrew. It's Mara. When I learned Indonesian, Mara means angry. Interestingly, I love etymology. But Mara actually means a fountain at the sixth station of the Israelites. See the number 6 linking into Saturn. Ma, karma. Ma links to the ocean. In Aramaic, it actually means to be high, exalted, prideful. Are you seeing these energies within the belly when we speak about Leviathan energy as a collective energy of pride, aka learnt or programmed by the sons of Belial? We can see this absolutely in religious programming. Religious programming hates that you and I think differently. It will force us to think like they do. They will not study for themselves. They will put horrible comments. They will not listen to another's point of view. They will not even check in with the Most High. I find it quite humorous, actually. Ma also links into Master of Arts. The master or the leader or the one that holds the knowledge or the wisdom. Ma links to ocean, as I mentioned, hence the word maritime. See the word ram back to front, or Mars, or war here as a planetary state. Ma links to your mental age. I can't help but think of the scriptures where it mentions that we were thinking like children. And here we are, little children waking up to higher vibrational, expanded states of consciousness, remembering who we are in the mother. Ma links to mother. Ma links to gamma brainwave state. Ma links to who you really are in the divine. Ma links to matrix, your water matrix. As above, so below. When you bust out of your water matrix in lower density emotional states, you remember that you are a spirit. You remember that you can co-create with the oneness or with the soul. Especially effective when you're using love, joy, peace energy. Now, from Latin and Greek, coming from Hebrew, Belial literally means worthless or without soul maybe, without the oneness, or without love maybe. In Revelation 12:10, I'll read this. And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our Yah and the authority of his Christ have come. For the accuser, aka Satan, of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them day and night before our God. I just find it all quite interesting. Wanted to quickly speak into how spirit and energy is transferred through the bones. When Joseph died, he commanded that his bones be taken out of Egypt. I've been shown in the spirit realm that your spirit flows through the bones as an energy, hence stem cell activity. Stem cell brings and creates life. But when our spirits are dried up with toxic emotions, we end up with dry bones. Many of our ancestors had dry bones. Their spirits were toxic, angry, fearful, afraid, cut off, programmed by Belial. Many of them sold their souls. And this is where the prophet Elijah blew through the bones. Remember, the spirit rides on breath, blew life back into the bones and brought life back into the ancestors that were stuck in lower density energies. I want you to think about that and how precious bones are to the Most High, and also why bones are dug up from fresh graves by those that are working the dark occult magic. And as a man was being buried, behold, a marauding band was seen, and the man was thrown into the grave of Elisha. And as soon as the man touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood on his feet. Because Elisha, like many ascended masters, transmuted out of body density and went back to crystalline spirit state. That's your true astral body, not the one that's trapped in Saturnalia. I hope this is interesting to you. Leave a comment or tag somebody that you feel this might interest. And yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for awakening your knowledge into wisdom state. Give me a love heart. Tell me where you're from. And I'll sign out. Have a beautiful evening. I love you.